Hey guys, welcome back to the Dragon's Voice podcast. I hope you guys have been tuning in and following up all the recent episodes, including the likes of Nicky John, Andrew Mumford, Ryan Valentine. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to all the videos, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything. But I'm going to bring back more blasts from the past here because I'm really happy that he's back on because the last time we had a chat, we chatted about the Cymru Premier, we chat about a lot of things really, and it's without a doubt that I was going to bring this guy back on anyway. It's Luke Williams, and he is the co-host. I gotta say, he is the co-host. How's it going, Luke?
I'm all right. How are you? I'm delighted to be back here. I feel like a player coming back to their former team. Coming back, and I'm not going to celebrate.
He's coming home. He's coming home. No, I just wanted to say as well, because I messaged, because, you and James Young, for some of you guys who don't know, Luke and a guy called James Young, who I did the Yellow and Blue Army radio show with, they do a football sports radio show every Saturday on Bro Radio. And for some of you who are tuning in outside of Wales, Bro Radio is a local radio station for the Vale. I've been part of it. I'm still part of it because I still want to be doing work, but because of COVID, not many people are coming back anytime soon. But congratulations, though, on the Community Award nominations. That must be something, especially for you and James, because, can I just ask, how old are you, Luke? Because I don't think
17.
17. I know James is, I think he's, 8? He's got to be 17. Yeah, 17. Yeah. Young guys getting a nomination, and you're running the radio station. It's absolutely incredible, and fair play. And so I messaged James. He said, "Coming from me," I gave him praise. He said, "Coming from me, it's a lot, know." And the thing is, though, I do believe, I don't know how he looks at it, but I remember when I had the Yellow and Blue Army radio, not radio, the podcast. And when we go into the radio station, James Clemens, the friend of mine who was the host with me, he couldn't do it because we changed the times for Monday or Wednesdays at that time for the radio show. And I said, let's just bring on James Young then, because I think he's a good kid anyway. And I think he's got a point of view for the journalism anyway. Yeah. So that's when he came on. And I think that's the fairy tale in Barry, if we're going to call it that for him. But we got a lot to talk about anyway, so we're going to get down to it. But I know we're planning on talking about the podcast first, because the Dragon's Voice podcast has come a long way from a short period of time as well. And but the thing is, it does come with its flaws. It does come with its highs and lows and everything. Because I remember the last time you and I had a chat about it, we were talking about big guests and everything. And sometimes, because of the position that Dragon's Voice podcast is in, I'm not going to get big names like Ryan Giggs, who I'll mention later on anyway. The likes of Ryan Giggs, your Ian Rush, I'm not going to get guests like that. And no disrespect to others who have been on there. It is hard. It is hard.
Well, you've got some good ones on already.
Yeah.
Come on, you've had some big hitters on already. Like Kevin Ratcliffe. That's huge. You're telling me some of the people you've spoken to, and I'm thinking, really? Is it? I think you're pulling my leg half the time. But I suppose just pick your brains. What is the most rewarding aspect of the podcast then? Is it sort of hearing the stories, or is it, giving them the platform to sort of maybe go over ground they've not covered in quite a while?
Everything. I think it's the whole experience itself. The thing about the Dragon's Voice podcast, and I'll make a little announcement as I say this now, just very quickly. Dragon's Voice podcast, I think it's going to get to the point where Welsh football is not going to cover everything about the podcast itself, and the podcast is not going to cover Welsh football entirely. So I'm creating a series. I'm thinking of creating a series called Off the Record. And Off the Record is going to be going out of Wales and probably interviewing non-Welsh footballers or boxers or anything. No disrespect to Welsh, I love it. It will still be there, the covering of Welsh football now. But I want to try and expand on Dragon's Voice podcast and try to get a big audience going. A lot of people are watching it. But going back on what you're saying about the experiences listening to, it is literally everything. But I think the problem I always have is trying to get the guests to come on, because all it's because of, I mean, we don't see these names in the middle of the street and you ask them, can you come on my show and everything? I always try and message them on Twitter, Facebook, well, I haven't got Instagram no more, so I think that's a bit of a bit of a downer. But Facebook and Twitter have always been the key source to getting these footballers on the podcast. And it's very difficult because sometimes they don't read the messages, or they read them and they just don't respond back. That's not a problem. I don't mind that. It's just it does get to me. It's like, oh, I wish I could have had you on the show. I wish I could have had you on the show. But other than that, sometimes I do want to make a career out of this. Don't get me wrong. I do want to make this as a bit of a career. But at this moment in time, I've only done nearly 30 episodes as we speak now. And the thing is, it is going to take a long time and hard work and everything. And a lot of people were saying to me, am I going to make any merchandise and anything? And I just said to myself, I haven't got a following yet. There's not really a following in the podcast. People just watch it because of the names probably, or what the topics are going to be talked about, So I think, yeah, it's the experience really that really covers it.
What sort of merchandise are people talking to you about? What have you got in the pipeline?
Yeah, t-shirts, mugs, my face. No, I mean, I have had this. Do you know what? James Clemens, I think James Young mentioned this to me. I think he did anyway. The guys at the football club, Barrytown Football Club, that is. Some people have been saying to me, would you want to get, like a football shirt of the designer of the podcast, having it in yellow and black and everything. And I had this designer, and I actually, funny enough, I did design the shirt. I thought, this is really good. Even my missus, even though she's not a big football fan, she thought, oh, that's actually nice. Problem is finance. That's the down payment. And the thing is as well, I tried asking Nathan Spackman of Bro Radio, how does he get these advertisements? How does he get these sponsors, because local radio is not going to come free, and nothing is ever free these days. So, which is fair enough, but I'm trying to look for sponsors at this particular moment in time so that I can actually benefit from, and probably, try to avoid actually working in JD Sports or something like that, and probably get paid for doing these podcasts. But if I had the following: football shirts, mugs, maybe a scarf, and sometimes if I was to meet these guys, I'd probably meet these guests I had. Maybe I would have taken 10 pictures and let them sign it, and then probably, do like a raffle,
very good.
Or something like that, So it's something like that, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you do get the merchandise, that's 2 mugs associated with the program. So
yeah, I know, fair enough. It's funny, but it does come with this. Just going on to the guests, so. The one thing that I always find it very, the thing that really bothers me, and no disrespect to any of the guests who have got who had problems or anything like that, but it's to anyone who has done a podcast, especially yourselves, probably you and James have probably had this. I'm not really too sure how your show works. I know it's a sports show, but surely you must want guests on the show or anything like that. I don't know, but the one thing I've always struggled with is when you say yes to a podcast or a radio show, if you've got a problem or if you don't really want to do it, by all means, just message the person who's trying to run the podcast back and say you don't want to do it. Otherwise, you're leaving them to the day they find out that you don't want to do it. You've wasted their time. There's no point in doing it. I've messaged people who have said yes, and then I ask them, when do you want to do it? When is it possible? And they don't respond back. And I'll mention this one particular individual. I won't say who it is because I think because I mentioned it to you offline. Yeah. But if people know of this, just please look at it from my perspective if you do know who I'm talking about. But I've met this is a very popular person. He's not a footballer, but he is well known in the Welsh football community, and I got his number off another one of the guests, a former Wrexham player. I think I dropped it now, but
You'll have to bleep that out.
yeah, but other than that, so I messaged this person and he said, yes, give me a call. And I gave him a call. We arranged for it to be on a Wednesday evening. And Wednesday came along and I was out with my fiance and my fiance's workmates. And luckily enough, the pub we were at, it was only just down the road from where I lived. So by the time it got to the specific moment where I was supposed to do the podcast, we arranged it for it to be on Skype. So all I could do was just have it on my phone. So I ran to my house and I got everything ready, all set up and everything. And it got to the time, I think we arranged for 8 o'clock. So we got to 8 o'clock. Nothing happened. It got to 8:30. Nothing happened. It got to 9 o'clock. It got to 9:30. It got to 10. Put it this way, I didn't stay there for long because I knew I still had to be out with my fiance. But I mean, I messaged this person and he just didn't get back to me at all. And then afterwards, I think I messaged him, not on the Thursday, but on the Friday. He apologized and said, right, let's do it on the weekend. So we did it on the Saturday. And problem is, I asked we could do it on around 6 o'clock or something like that. And then all of a sudden, I called him up. He said he was out in a pub somewhere. Then I called him again about an hour later. He was on a train. Now, bearing in mind, it was getting close to time. It was getting close to the point where, hang on, are we actually going to do this podcast? Came home pissed. He did not know what to do. Just did not know what to do, whatever. And then he tried to give his phone to his wife, and she didn't know what. And it just really embarrassed me, to be honest with you. And he said, look, I still want to do it, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, I said, all right, no problem. And I messaged him the next day saying, look, if you ever still want to do it, but if I had my own way, if it was a big podcast, if I was like under the cosh or something like that, I'd probably send a message back saying, just don't waste my time again, I'd like to have this particular person on, but I really wish, people like that. I mean, even, I'll mention another one to you. It was a former footballer. We arranged for it to be on a Thursday. And I messaged him the Wednesday saying if it's still okay. Yes, he gave me the thumbs up. All good. On the Thursday, nothing happened. He ignored my messages. Next day, he ignored my messages. Those are the kind of people I don't like, especially those who just, even if you don't want it, just lie, just have a fib, just say, I'm not well, we'll do it some other time. Just anything. If you don't want to come on, just be open about it, if you know what I mean. So that's my take on, some of the guests I have. And it's put me on it's upset me quite a bit. And, because I try so hard to get this podcast up and running, it's really hard,
Yeah. Well, just one final question then before we sort of move on to other matters, if that's what you want. You mentioned earlier, and I've seen it firsthand, the sort of growth and the success you've had in such a short amount of time since starting the podcast. What would you say then is the end goal for this?
Nice studio.
You can tell I'm there.
Oh yeah, the nice studio, proper microphones, proper equipment. A bit like have it more like happy hour meeting under the cosh, whether it be pub with the proper microphones, with the top guests, or be in a studio talking on the proper mics, and we're all there. It's on YouTube. We're earning money out there. That's the main goal. But that's the long-term that's the long-term plan. The short-term plan is just to keep each episode coming along as planned and see how well it comes and whatever it takes me. But at the same time, it does take a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work.
Yeah, and fair play to you. You've clearly done a good job. Hold on, just when I was cutting you off, I thought you'd, when you were saying your own proper studio, I thought you were sort of making a whole nice studio link reference. That's why you know what I mean? I thought you were making the
Yeah.
sort of slick radio joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies. You can cut that out if you
No,
need
yeah,
to.
no. Yeah, a nice studio link, let's, yeah,
Yeah, I thought that
let's
was
do it.
the.
But the thing is as well, I don't want to be afraid. The thing is it's like a lot of podcasts recently, they're not, some of them are very afraid to push the boundaries a bit, whether it be topics to discuss or, especially in football, because, even though we've got glory days of football of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, but you have to admit, there are some dark moment periods and everything. And I had this advice from ACE Podcast Nation, Sai, his name is. Shout out to Sai there, because he's without. Do you know what? If we there's a lot of people I have to thank for very quickly. Gary Lloyd, who gave me numbers to Andy Legg, Steve Jenkins, and that. ACE Podcast Nation helped me a lot. Andy Campbell and Sai, they were top blokes. They helped me out a lot. And but I think Sai said to me, don't be afraid to speak to people who've had problems in the past. I'll just pull out here because I'm currently reading it. It's nostalgia, but in a bad way. It's this book. I know I'm advertised Soul Crew. It is football hooliganism in some ways from Cardiff City, but those sort of things, just to push the boundaries and never be afraid of it. So that's what I'm trying to do, and hopefully I can expand on some of the topics and guests and everything. So yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to your book review, and if you're starting a podcast book club.
Do you know what? I've read Soul Crew before, and it's just bonkers. I think it's a bit. Excuse me. I remember I watched it's on YouTube, by the way, split in 4 parts, but it's a panorama. I think it's a panorama show, and it covered when Sam Hammam was owner of Cardiff City, and a football hooligan trouble was trying to embrace it. And I remember it came to the end of the show, and it was so surreal. I know they don't do it no more, but I remember when one of the journalists went into the Cardiff City shop at the Ninian Park, and he said, "Oh, have you got the Soul Crew book?" And they were like, "Oh no, we haven't." And he had to go and speak to the manager, and they were selling it behind the counter. I was like, "Wow!" Okay, that is, oh wow, and the author, one of the authors, I think it's Tony Rivers. He speaks on ACE Podcast Nation. So if you have got something, if you are interested in that kind of topic, make sure you go and watch it. It is really interesting. I know football hooliganism is not the beauty of football, but it's the most interesting topic because you can find out so many things. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that. But I have got ideas of, one idea I thought of, and I wanted to really embrace do you remember Fan Zone on Sky Sports?
Yes.
I really want to do a Cymru Premier version of it. I really want to do it.
Brilliant.
Whether it be in Welsh or I remember, and I'll tell you a very quick story, Luke, because I know you haven't said much, and I feel bad. No, I remember when Carnarvon supporters came down to Barry once. I think it was a midweek game, and we won 2-1. And there was I will say there was a problem between Barry fans and Carnarvon fans. I was part of it. I'll tell you more of it offline. I don't want to, because I got a lot of respect for the Carnarvon supporters because they are tremendously supported. I hate them in a more football term, hate, if you know what I mean. It's like, but at the same time, you got to love them for what they stand for in terms of support. But when I was watching it, I thought, would it be amazing to have a football fan zone and all you hear is just Carnarvon down supporter like that?
The Carvey Army,
the Carvey Army. And then you just have Connersky and TNS fan zone, and there's bugger all there. You probably have to have Gary Dewhurst or Mike Harris to be the fan zone.
One of the subs.
Oh my god. Wait a minute, let's talk about let's go on to expanding. I remember talking about expanding. I mentioned the word expanding. Wrexham Football Club. Wow.
I know. That's all you can say, isn't it?
Wow. I just That's like that's like Rob Brydon coming to Barry and investing in the football club, you know. So,
Mhm.
but well, I don't know. But it would make sense actually. But Ryan Reynolds, and Rob McElhenney,
Mhm. Yeah,
co-owners of Wrexham Football Club. Well, what's your take on it? Well, what's your opinion of it?
I love it personally. I think it's just the sort of the shot in the arm that not only Wrexham need, but Welsh football needs as well. I mean, Wrexham are a huge side. I think a lot of people probably my age, really, my sort of generation might not know about that. But the race course, their ground is the oldest international football ground in the world. They're the third oldest professional side, and they're languishing in the fifth tier. So it's been horrible to see. I mean, you look in 1992, they beat Arsenal in the FA Cup third round, that Mickey Thomas free kick. They're a historic, huge side, one of the biggest in Wales. And it's been so sad to see sort of the decline. 13 years, I think they've been in non-league football now,
I think
which
it's
is
been longer now.
far too. Is it?
I think it's been longer. I think anyway. I'm not too sure, but it is a
Yeah.
disaster when you say it, because it has brought a lot of discussion, hasn't it?
Hmm.
In terms of whether or not Wrexham should be jumping ships
Yeah.
really to the
Yeah.
Premier, and in all fairness, I will point my finger and I will say, if that was to ever happen, whether it be Merthyr, Newport, or Wrexham, one of them to get
Mm.
not jump into the Cymru North or Cymru South, just jump into the Cymru Premier. I wouldn't mind Wrexham doing that because
No.
it has that level. But
Hmm.
and at the same time, I know a lot of people would be like, "Oh, they got to follow the curriculum, they got to follow the guidelines." And I said, "Yeah, no, that's fine." I mean, I'm not saying that, but I would just let. Yeah, well, you put them in there,
Yeah.
you're granted money, but um, you're guaranteed money. But speaking of money, I mean, a lot of people, even my missus said, "Why? Why Wrexham?" And they all said, "Why not?" But Why do you think? Well, I can't say two Americans because Ryan Reynolds is Canadian.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, be careful what you say.
Yeah, yeah. That's like a Welsh person being called in English, and we both know how that feels. No, but it's like one famous Canadian actor who is he just swept Hollywood. He is Deadpool. I think he's such a talented actor. There's more to him than meets the eye. And then there's Rob
Mhm.
McElhenney, who's had Always Sunny in Philadelphia, big American sitcom with Danny DeVito, and and the thing is as well about Ryan Reynolds is I don't know about Rob McElhenney. Maybe he has a couple of investments. I don't know much about it, but I've looked into Ryan Reynolds. He is a businessman, and
Mhm.
he's not stupid. He's put a lot of money into companies such as like a gin company. He's put money
Yeah.
into dating apps. He's put in money in also. He's got his own production company. So he's made of money. So he's looking to put his money where his mouth is and invest in a football club. But on the level of where football is going now, considering that America and maybe a bit of Canada are expanding in terms of the
Mhm.
creations of a lot of American soccer teams, as you put it. But in your personal opinion, why do you think Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney decided to come to the northest part of Wales and just buy one of the oldest clubs in Wales, if not in the world?
I mean, I think a lot of football sort of pundits, commentators have been trying to scratch their heads working it out. I think a couple of weeks ago when it was first sort of rumoured, I don't know how accurate this is. I don't know if it's verifiable or not, but apparently it was Rob McElhenney idea. I think that's. I mean, I'm not sure how to say it.
I think it's McElhenney. They say it.
McElhenney. It was his idea, and he's good friends with Ryan Reynolds. I think they've worked on a few things before, and he approached him. He knows, they're both businessmen as well as actors, and he said, I think he might have watched one of the sort of Sunderland Till I Die or the Tottenham Hotspur All or Nothing documentaries, and he thought, well, I could do that. And so they thought they'd go for a lower league so they could really sort of, stick it out, invest lots and have a whole project. And I think they were looking into Hartlepool, maybe. It was
I would
somewhere.
have loved it if they got Hartlepool. I'm not going to be funny. I would have loved it if they had Hartlepool. Just Sterling would have been bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, I think it was hard. It was somewhere like that. And they were looking and they were sort of researching, thinking, like, which is the best, which speaks to us the most. And I think Rob's father was a miner or a colliery worker or something like that. And so when he was looking at the history of Wrexham, he thought, right, well, that really speaks to me. And so he got Ryan Reynolds in on board. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, fantastic businessman. He sold that gin company you mentioned for 200 million in about August, I think. So, he's made the money at the minute. Yeah. And I've seen a few interviews with him where he said he won't invest until unless it is actually what he wants, unless it is his heart's desire. So, they're not going to just sort of rinse the club dry and leave. It's not going to be one of those. But so I think they were sort of looking for a human story, one that had that proper appeal to them. And they just stumbled upon Wrexham. They thought, they couldn't quite believe that a club this historic was doing so poorly and had done for, such a sustained period of time. And so, they both thought, well, we can do it. And, there's been a lot of rumours that it's going to sort of Hollywood-ize the club and it's going to turn it into a sort of commercial product. They're going to, they're going to have a documentary and it's just going to be that. It's going to be almost like a soap club, like a Harchester United was in, was it? Oh, what was that Sky one? Was it Dream Team?
Dream Team in the 90s, early 2000s kind of.
Yeah.
Harchester, one of the most bonkers football clubs you'll ever go to.
Yeah. So there was a lot of talk that it could be turning into that, but from the looks of things, I mean, I'm not sure if you've read their mission statement. I did it last week on air at the time of recording, and it is really genuine. I mean, I think half of it was talking about how they'll beat Chester every time they play them.
You know what? That's it. You've won Wrexham fans. We're going to beat. Yeah. I really liked it. I read most of the mission statement anyway, and especially the minutes. And what I really admired Rob McElhenney was he said, right, we want to beat Chester. And then it goes on and on and on. It's like, we're going to be... Did I say we're going to beat Chester? That is such a Wrexham thing to say, though. It's like, we're going to be... And for a fact, he's going to be on level with the supporters and everything, right? But keep in mind, though, they may be businessmen, but these are men that came from into movies, not into businesses. So they may know they know art. They know, the art form and everything. And football, in some ways, is art too, And that's why I always try to say to support the art, save the art, and save football, and everything. But one of the things I have noticed, there are some negative feedbacks, especially from one or two friends of mine. They said every football club should be owned by supporters. I disagree. And as much as I'd like to see supporters own their football club, the problem you got is, where do football fans take their club? You can only take them so far in the future. Yeah. Whereas, these businessmen or Hollywood people or whoever who have got money, and bearing in mind, supporters trust and everything, they may be owned by supporters, but these people who are supporters, they've come from a business background. I mean, or they must have a background in business. Well, I know a football man could run a club, but you got to have a business sense to actually run it, because the unfortunate thing about it is that football has come to a point where it is a business. And it could be a beautiful business if it's done correctly. Just don't do what Man United and Liverpool are trying to do, and that's trying to take over the rules of the sport. Yeah. But when I was reading the mission statements and everything, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, I've literally turned around and said, they've been in the National League or the conference, whatever you want to call it. They've been in there for nearly 10 and a half decades. A decade and a half. Sorry. Decades, flipping heck. It does feel like that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. But, it's come to the point where, Wrexham have got to go somewhere. They got to move somewhere. They can't just be sitting in the dungeons, as you will, the dungeons of football. No disrespect to non-league football, because it is the heartbeat of football. But they got to go somewhere. And I've always said, I mean, I remember the playoff. I think they played against Newport,
Mm-hmm.
the Welsh derby, and
Yeah.
Newport won. And I thought Wrexham had it there. I thought they had it, and
So close. Yeah.
it was so close. But their heart is in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing as well, we gotta understand is these are men who have chosen a wise a wise club. They made a wise decision. They've picked a non-league club, and they say, right, they've had a big history in the past. They were big in their heyday. They're sleeping giants. A lot of people laughed at that, but it's true. They were successful in the past. They were a very successful Welsh football club, and and they are like sleeping giants. So it is. I mean, I can't fault Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney for turning around saying, look, we want to get them into the Football League. We want to do that. And yes, we may do like a Sunderland Till I Die kind of documentary to show how we do it. But where's the fault? The errors and everything? Because there's no really errors to begin with. Maybe there is in the background, but at this moment in time, it seems promising, so.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point you raise about being fan-owned, because the Wrexham Supporters Trust have done quite a phenomenal amount of work. I think 10 years maybe they've been in ownership of the club. It's something like that. But both Ryan and Rob have stressed the importance of it, and they've said they will still be involved. They'll still be in the upper echelons of the football club. It's just that they've got the money bags coming from the two Hollywood stars, and so I think was it 98% of them voted yes. It was an overwhelming majority. I think 30 of them said no, which I mean I can understand. I'm sure there are reservations to it, but I would have voted yes. I'm sure you would have. I've seen your face when
I would have asked
discussing
to be in
this.
a fucking film. Give me a moment.
But it's important that they really do seem to understand Wrexham. I mean, in that mission statement, they mentioned the Gresford colliery disaster, which is so intrinsically linked with Wrexham, and you can tell they've done their research. You can tell they haven't just gone up and down the 92 in the Football League and
they're not
the remaining.
24 times Welsh Cup champions. They're not. They've literally gone, right, get the glasses on. Let's read word for word. Right, let's understand. And at the same time, they mentioned the disaster, and like I said, it is close to, well, it's happened in Wrexham, but it's the football club is what made the community come together, and they just struck it, and they struck it so well. But that's the point what I was trying to make with the Supporters Trust, because they've been owners for quite some time. It's like a lot of people said, yeah, but they're comfortable, they're happy there. And it's like, they're probably not happy being in the National League for 10, 15 years. It's like, don't get me wrong. I know with it's like with Barry Town, right? But I would like to see investment. I want to shut TNS's mouth shut.
Yeah,
I want to shut Connors Key up. I want to shut Bala up. I want us to return to lift the trophy, but I want Welsh football. If I was this multi-millionaire or billionaire, I'd want maybe a football club or maybe the league itself to thrive. To make it worth something. And that's why those two guys from Hollywood, brilliant guys from Hollywood, who are talented on set, off set, minds and all, they know something. They're not stupid. And businessmen, they're never stupid. They just happen to make the wrong decisions.
Well, and also the social media as well. They're already so close before they'd even taken over. I mean, Rob McElhenney was sharing pictures of him on set, watching the games, streaming them on his laptop. I think he owns a fantastic classic shirt as well that he posted a picture of himself in with the Wrexham Barker sponsor. Ryan Reynolds yesterday sent loads of bottles of his gin to bars in the area. He's been replying to I think county councillors there. He's already so close. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen the video they're sharing on social media there. It's basically an advert for Evola Williams trainers.
It was brilliant.
It's fantastic.
I thought it was funny when he just sat there and went, oh shit, it's happening. I thought he knows because owning a football club is such a it's such a ride. It is such a bumpy ride. But if he does it right, if he does it to the point where let's put it this way, right? I don't know if there are owners out there, but unfortunately we can't name them because we can't know at the top of our heads, or they're unsung heroes. But there have been football owners who have owned the football club for God knows how many years. They've took them to far and beyond and everything. And they've probably turned around and said, look, we want to sell up because we've done, that's all that we can do.
Yeah.
Football clubs live forever, not the business people or not the people who owned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are, I don't know who, but there have been. And probably next time I'll probably mention, go, hey, Luke, I found out money. But yeah, it is gonna be quite an interesting challenge. But especially as well, it's like a lot of people don't seem to understand, the ones who are against it. Again, we see it from their perspectives. But you're talking Wrexham. I've not seen a lot of this in a long time.
No.
And what's happened? Wrexham shirts have been bought. The Eva Williams company has probably earned a lot of money because of that advertisement they've done, and there's I don't know, the football shirts are being sold. Probably a lot of people, again, Wrexham supporters have probably maybe iffy about it, but a lot of people are going to come from around the world to see them. But I can understand, it could be a Manchester United situation where, tourism, they only come for one game, whereas the supporters who have been there through thick and thin. But like I said, those two guys, they've assured the fans. They said the fans will come first. We will do season tickets. We will do those. And we won't sell individual tickets until, all the season tickets have been bought out. But here's the thing for tourists. They're not going to buy a ticket.
Well, I mean, they mentioned buying a pint for every one of the supporters. They said that's due to COVID, they can't, but they would be, they'd have a round in on them. And it's interesting you mentioned the sort of worldwide appeal now. We've seen Chris Hadfield, the first Canadian to be sent in space. He's now an honorary Wrexham fan. He's got a shirt as well, and he's tweeting about them constantly. So Russell Crowe, as well as in Gladiator himself, saying his grandfather was born in Wrexham. Jason Watkins, the comedian, he was on the One Show.
Harold Wilson. He was Mr. Harold Wilson. Is that Jason?
Yes.
Yeah. He was brilliant. In no offense, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan of monarchies and that, but I do watch The Crown. I will put my hands up, just simply because it's just entertaining to see it. It was like, but the only good thing was who's that Welsh actor? He was in Chernobyl. What was his name?
I know the one. Sport football podcast, eh?
Yeah. I don't care. Shut up. It's my show. No, I see him. But there's just John Cleese as well. He's
that was the thing.
Names
fantastic. Yeah. I'd imagine that's what everyone in the club shop is doing at the minute. They're just trying to ship to Rio de Janeiro. I've seen people in Sydney and Australia buying the shirts. Even if it hadn't gone through, even when it was just in the newspaper, sort of the Guardian doing it for them to, talk about Welsh football, that is something, because they don't like Wales anyway.
No.
But so then with the football as well, even if it hadn't gone through, there's sort of already the sort of knock-on effect of the talk, the talk surrounding it, the rumours. Shirts were flying off the shelves.
Yeah. I mean, I'm buying one. I will be buying one.
I was thinking.
I'm going to do that because the thing is about Wrexham, right? I'll tell you this now. The thing about Wrexham Football Club, whether before and after the Hollywood came to them, right? Wrexham have always been a well-respected and well-loved football club by English teams. They've always respected them. But a lot of everywhere in Wales, they've always respected Wrexham because they did it their way. They've always gone right. And they've sold Wales to everyone, and and they've represented Wales for a long, long time. And that's where the respect comes from. And the thing about Wrexham is, I think it's been a long time coming and a long deserving award for them to have it. And it's like a lot of people would probably say, yeah, but they won't be like Cardiff and Swansea. I went, no, because they'll be better. Yeah. Newport, I know they're still owned by their supporters, but I think a multi-millionaire who owns a stake of it. But, fair play to Wrexham. Good old Wrexham. Oh.
It's fantastic. And I think another sort of key reason why they sort of target it is they've got a lot of young fans, because normally, if your local side is sort of in non-league, because it's got such close links with Liverpool, and there would be is a case to make that probably a lot of youngsters there growing up would support Liverpool. Their dads probably support Liverpool because it's so close, or maybe Man United. Maybe, I mean, a lot of people in Cardiff seem to support Arsenal. You've got the weird, or even Nottingham Forest. I know it's really weird that you get these sort of where people travelling for work, it's cheaper to live, etc. So you get those sort of weird, almost sub-communities. But Wrexham have got so many young supporters who turn up, or before they were playing behind closed doors, they did turn up week in, week out. And so I think that's another one. They've already got that established support. They won't have to win over people who are already there. It's, they've got that already. It's fantastic to see.
Considering the fact that they are close to Liverpool and Everton and Tranmere, considering the geographical close they are, proximity they are, fair play to Wrexham's fan base for sticking their guns at, and everything, because, you're not going to get, it's like, that's the unfortunate thing with Barry, because of, I know I'm going to sound a bit hypocritical because apart from Barry, I'm Everton, and that's my dad's fault. It is because my dad loved Neville Southall, and I always try to tell my mates, like, can that be a one-off because Neville Southall was the goalkeeper? But no, it's a sad thing because, like with Cardiff City, because they're in the English league, and because Barry are in the Welsh league, and you're not going to get many support and everything. I solely do not like the fact that. Fans or football fans would always say, because Barry are rubbish, or because not Carnarvon, because in no offense to Carnarvon, they've got a brilliant fan base, and Bangor have, but I think most of Bangor have gone to the other club. But fans, fans in the areas such as like Port Talbot and Barry and Kevin Ruids and Llandudno and all those places. You've got to feel sorry for them because they've always been looked down upon and say, oh, they're a rubbish team. Or is that why you don't support them? Yes, because they're rubbish. Where's Man United in the Premier League?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they're a rubbish team. Where's Arsenal in the league? Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, but it's like everyone points out Everton for me. And I went, yes, but I've been supporting a rubbish team for all my life. I feel the pain. But fair play to Wrexham. And I wish Ryan Reynolds, well, they're not going to probably not see it. But if they do, please sponsor me, Ryan Reynolds. You've got the American gin. Give me all the money, please.
Yeah, I'll be sending a little tweet if I'm you. He seems to be good at replying.
Yeah. Oh man, but I wish them all the very best, and hopefully they can start and end it on a very good note, and then hopefully I wouldn't be surprised, and if they do such a good job, I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a statue of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney with a trophy in their hand, going, yes, we've done it, but fair play to them.
Well, I mean, the bookies already running odds on Wrexham being in the Premier League by 2026. So that's back-to-back promotions.
Yeah. They keep mentioning Salford, saying they're going to be like another Salford. We don't know that. We don't know the bit. It's like, here's the thing about Salford, right? We don't know yet, so we can't do the comparisons yet. But if you look at Salford, right, all right, you got the class of 90, the class of 92, they own 10% each. And 40% is owned by Peter Lim, who's the multi-billionaire who also owns Valencia, right? But if you notice, right, Peter Lim has only invested a small minority of his finances to the club. Most of the money's actually come from the class of 92 because of their, how can I say this? Because of their merchandise, because of their salaries on Sky or on guest dinners and everything. They're earning a lot of money.
Yeah, the BBC program they did as well.
So, they're earning well-spent money. And a lot of people, and because they've been, I think because a lot of people say they're going to be like another Salford because, they spend a lot of money and now they're just trapped in League Two. And I said, well, that was their target. That's always been their target, is to get to the Football League. And then what they're going to do then is they're going to go back and go, right, where are we going to go now? Because bearing in mind, when did David Beckham, how long has he been a 10% owner of Salford? Not for long. He only just come on board. So they've got a plan. So, Wrexham have got a plan. I think that their plan is, it's like they've always said, we want to take them into the Football League. They want to beat Chester, so...
Yeah. Yeah, they've got two main objectives there.
Main objectives, They want to play, they want to do it for the history. They want to rescue the pride, the reputation of Wrexham Football Club. That's what they want to do. And do you know what? I watched that and I thought, and excuse my language, I just thought, you fucking beauties. Absolute beauties. I love you for that. So fair play to them. Absolute fair play. Cannot fault them one bit.
I think that's probably the sort of disparity between Salford and Wrexham. Wrexham are a historical club.
Yeah.
I mean, people will have heard of Wrexham before. I mean, Salford, you're looking at, I might upset James Young here, but you're looking at Jason Manford being from there, Media City, the BBC, and Old Trafford being located in it. I mean, Wrexham, you've got, as I say, that 92 game against Arsenal, the FA Cup third round. You've got Mickey Thomas. You've got Nico Williams now. He's from Kevin Mowden.
You've got Joey Jones.
Joey Jones, of course, one of Wales' greatest ever left backs. You've got the racecourse ground.
Yeah.
Wales 1, England 0. Mark Hughes on his debut. Mark Hughes as well. You've got so many
got Ian
players.
Rush.
Yeah, Ian Rush played there. You've got so many... no, that's a new point. I was going to mention...
Oh, he's gone again.
John Orby, but you've got so much history there. Do you know what I mean? It is such a huge club, a fallen giant, really.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm just looking at this now, and the signal keeps going for some. It's like the red, yellow, amber. It's going on rainbow circles. You're still here, I know you are, but but that's the thing about Salford and the comparisons with Salford and Wrexham. No offense, James, but Wrexham. When you think of Wrexham, you do think of those things. You do think of. Yeah. The racecourse, you think of the FA Cup, you think of the Welsh Cup, you think of them in Europe. And guess what? There's only 2 teams that have beaten Porto in the European competition, and that was Wrexham and Barry Town. None of you could take it away, So those are the only 2 that done it, and we were the only Welsh team to beat a Welsh English League side to win the FAW ball, and that was Barry 2, Wrexham 1. Thank you. But
I was waiting for you to bring all this up.
Oh no, but Ian Rush, Joey Jones, Mickey Thomas. I mean Lee Jones as well, because Lee Jones went to Liverpool and he played in. But I know we got probably a lot of names at the
Neil
top.
Taylor.
Huh? Sorry.
Neil Taylor.
Neil Taylor.
Remembered one. He came through. Neil Taylor.
Yeah. Did who came from? Oh no, it was I'll tell you another thing. When I had Steve Evans on the show, I mean Steve Evans from Wrexham, but he started at TNS, and then he signed for Wrexham. I think a few years later, and what happened then? He got the call up for Wales, and he became the first. I know Wrexham got relegated during his time at Wrexham, but he became the first non-league player, to be called up for Wales. So I mean, fantastic. And he had so many stories. It was absolutely amazing. Fair play to him. But some big names have come from Wrexham and have succeeded so well. You can't take that away from Wrexham. And I know, like I said, I keep going back to Salford. Salford, right, they had plans. If no one's watched the Class of 92, not the brilliant independent film documentary, but the Sky Sports documentary, right? If anyone watches that, which I do say please do, because I think it teaches a lot of people, if they want to own a football club in the future, of how it's run, how it goes in a day-to-day basis. Their plans have always been, I mean, if you looked at it, they didn't have the best ground until they came. It wasn't brilliant.
No.
Until they built it and it became awesome. They had plans, and like with Wrexham, they've got plans. Wrexham don't need a new stadium, right? They don't need a new stadium. The racecourse will never ever go away, so that's a tick. They don't need to do that, right? The finances are sorted, tick. The people, the fans are sorted. We've made them happy. They'll come. Tick. What's left? Top of the list, promotion. Up. Things are going up. And you can't really go wrong about that.
Oh, and that's... Well, the thing is, you mentioned the sort of running of a football club. Look at Sam Haman at Cardiff. You know, he turned round at one point had to say, I've got no money, because he spent sort of twice what he was meant to. That's why, he wanted to propel the side up. That's why the likes of Danny Gabidon signing there was because they knew, because he knew they had the investment, but he hadn't sort of accounted in the extra cost. Whereas Ryan Reynolds already is on a Hollywood salary. So is Rob McElhenney. And then you look, Ryan Reynolds has just sold a gin business of 200 million. And you're thinking, okay, well, they're not going to run out of money anytime soon.
Come on in. Thank you very much. But do you know what? I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think these two guys will be the next, I can't pronounce the name, but I'm going to go for it, Vishay Sharapova, if I said it right. Do you think...
of Leicester?
Yeah, do you think they'll be the next owners who have... Because if you look at Leicester, we'll probably move on to other topics in a minute, but if you look at Leicester, right, the Sharapova family, right, they invested in Leicester, right, when they were I think they're in the Championship or League One, right?
Yeah, was it
League One?
I think it might have been, yeah.
But they came...
Because Andy King was playing for them.
Yeah. Well, Andy King has been playing for him for a lot. I think he's been playing. But that's one guy I really want on my show.
Really. Can you imagine? It'd be brilliant. Premier League champion. Andy King. Yeah. Plays at the Euros as well.
Yeah. I need one of those. I need one of...
Gotta get firing the emails off. You've already had Costerell on. He was Euro 2016.
I better... Yeah, well, he was... But I gotta, in all fairness to him, but I'll tell you more off the record.
Yeah. This is just in case.
Just in case. But no, it would have been brilliant. But no, just going on to the owners of Leicester, right?
Mm-hmm.
They came in. They were billionaires. They are billionaires. They were billionaires. But the thing they did it the right way. They didn't splash the cash. They didn't pick a manager like Jose Mourinho. They didn't pick a manager who was going to take them nowhere in a league. They did it so right. And if you look, when they won the Premier League, if you looked at how much they spent on that team, 30 million.
No.
30 to 35 million pounds.
Well,
do you know what? I'm looking that up. Sorry, 1 minute. If I go off camera, I'm looking it up.
That's all right. You do that. I'll try and work it out. You had, off the top of my head, Jamie Vardy was 1.4 million.
Yeah.
N'Golo Kante was somewhere about £500,000.
Yeah.
Riyad Mahrez was, I think, £450,000, maybe. Danny Drinkwater came through Man United, so I think they might have got him on free. Nathan Dyer came in on loan from Swansea.
Oh, did you know that's bonkers, that is? I never got that. How they got that was absolutely surreal. And then you look at Kasper Schmeichel, the son of Peter Schmeichel. He was there already. So
yeah. Danny Simpson as well. He joined from Newcastle, didn't he? Wes Morgan had been there for years, club captain. Robert Huth had come from Stoke, I believe, having already won the Premier League with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Christian Fuchs had come from Schalke. I believe he was on the expensive side for them, but that's still not much. I'm trying to think who else. Damari Gray had come from Birmingham City as a youngster, so he didn't cost too much. Shinji Okazaki had cost a bit from Mainz, I think, was it? He come from Germany. He was Leonardo Ulloa, Islam Slimani as well, I think, was there when they won it. Yeah. Or he might join the year after. But, I mean, I'm just sort of showing off now how many Leicester players I can name. But
some of these have come from... 1 minute, I'm trying to have a look here. It's
Jamie Vardy from non-league Fleetwood.
Yeah, I know most of their I know most of the wages are gone up for them, but I don't blame them because they're Premier.
Oh, yeah.
Where are they? Right, I'm not on the right.
Golo Kante came from SM Khan in the
Yeah.
French second tier. Riyad Mahrez came
Well,
from
here we go.
Half.
Here we go. So their total spending, right, on that season, right, was £27,300,000.
No.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm coming back on it. And I only came back on to see your reaction.
Who'd they spend that on?
I'm showing it to you now. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if we're supposed to be talking about Welsh football for a moment, but this is such madness here. And bearing in mind, Andy King is from Wales, so we'll just count it. So
yeah.
But here we go. So very quickly, guys, and I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to see Welsh football at its peak. So right, they've spent 27,300,000, right? So they bought Christian Fuchs.
Yeah, Christian Fuchs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
got to be careful saying that one.
Yeah. Robert Huth for 3 million.
Ooh.
I'll go back to Christian. He was on a free. He was. Okay. Shinji Okazaki, he cost 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Kante cost 5.6 million.
Did he?
Yeah. There's Johan Benalouan.
Oh, yeah, the centre half, yeah.
Yeah, but it was undisclosed, so they're not releasing anything. Gökhan Inter. He was 3 million. Demarai Gray from Birmingham City was 3,700,000 even. Daniel Amale, he was 5 million from Copenhagen, wherever you want to pronounce it. Daniel Iverson from Esbjerg was undisclosed. And then I don't think we've ever seen this player, but it's Faik Bolkia, whatever, and he was on a free, but he came in March. And then the players that left that day were Chris Wood, David Nugent, Joe Davis, and Simonis. I can't pronounce the name, so I ain't going here. And they made their total income was 7 million, right? So they brought in Nathan Dyer. They loaned out a lot of players, and guess who they loaned out as well that day? Not that day. On the 21st of August, 2015, they loaned out Tom Lawrence to Blackburn.
Well, George Thomas as well, the Welshman, he's come through the academy. I think he's at Wales International.
Yeah.
And the funniest part of Leicester winning the league was that Esteban Cambiasso, as in Champions League winner with Inter Milan, Argentina international, played in a World Cup, played in 2 World Cups, I think, left the season before. He joined for 1 season, kept them up, went to Olympiacos, they win the league.
Yeah, and he's there.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Hold on, we just stayed up last season.
What is this? What is this? Oh my God! Do you know what? That'll be the day, right? One day we're gonna see Barrytown win the Cymru Premier, right? And you're gonna probably have me on the phone or in the radio in the studio going, right? We got a very special guest here, ladies and gentlemen. He's our dear friend Rhys. He's a bit excited, and there's me going like that.
Yeah, might have to be quick on the sort of fader down in case any colourful language comes out in your excitement.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Spackman is ready for the bleeps. So he's got his index finger on the buzzer. So so ladies and gentlemen, would you all kindly brace yourself? Oh, we won that mother effing league.
Yeah, apologies in advance. That was the station's final broadcast.
Oh, excuse me. Oh man. So I think we've gone off topic for quite a bit, but but I think Wrexham may do that. But no, I don't know about winning the Premier League, but surely the future is there for Wrexham to compete against Cardiff, Swansea, and Newport once again, and probably compete some of against their older. I don't see them competing against Chester for a while.
Well, that was part of the mission statement. They had an asterisk if we ever play them again,
Yeah, if
because
we,
they're
yeah.
I think 6th or 7th tier. Chester at the minute, I think
They're in the
6th.
Cymru North, I think. Are they in the Cymru North? Someone said they're
They're
in
not.
the same league as Hereford.
Yeah, which is. I mean, they could probably both join the Cymru League. Chester did used to play in the Welsh Cup, but
Did you know? Did you know when Chester City were on its last legs, right?
mhm.
The Vaughan family attempted to apply Chester to the Welsh Premier League in order to save them.
Really,
Yeah.
I did
Well,
not
not in
know
order
that.
to save them, I think to earn another few pounds, because the Vaughan
Yeah.
family, we'll talk about them another time, but the Vaughan family was such a controversial business family to
Hmm.
ever grace upon football. But that was it. That's
Well,
actually true.
well, I think from my memory, they won the Welsh Cup in 1912. It was
Wait a minute,
a
what's the
special
matter?
guest.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, let me give you a pause on that. Let's pause the video for a minute. Right, sorry about that, guys. It was we had to take a bit of a quick break then, sudden break for a moment because of because in the video it's going to be like us talking, going haha, and then all of a sudden, sorry guys, So I'll do like what Under the Cosh does, and just add a little our screen logo and go,
Yeah,
and
very nice. Yeah,
do that.
little transition.
Yeah, nice little, or just me going, like. What was you talking about then? Wrexham, yeah. So, but
Hmm.
no, fair enough. We're gonna move on in a minute anyway, because we need to talk about Wales, because that's the most important thing ever. Because I want to talk about a lot of things about Wales. Um, so yeah, but all the very best to Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. If they bring us the Wrexham that we used to know, that would be absolutely fantastic, and wish him all the very best. My missus just walked into the room again. Let's see. But anyway, so do you have anything to say on the Wrexham supporters or the club? Anything before we move on?
I think we've covered it a lot now. You're just trying to fill time.
Yeah.
I just I just genuinely wish them all the best. I cannot wait to see how it unfolds. And they won on Tuesday night, didn't they? They beat
Yeah.
Hartlepool 1-0, I think.
Hartlepool.
Was they? I think it was. Yeah,
Well, if it was Hartlepool, then that's a bit of an ironic thing,
I know.
because
The first win of the new era was the team. It was so close to building an era of their own.
yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Fair play.
I know the stars have aligned there, haven't they?
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about now Wales, the national team. 10 games, without a loss. Um, what was it, nearly 10 games, or 10 games that we not conceded? Oh, we conceded
Yeah.
against Finland. Now, guys, this is a pre-recorded podcast, so if we say last night and everything, and you guys are wondering, well, I didn't see that game or anything like that, don't worry. We're recording this a day after the Wales and Finland game. I only caught half of it because I was working, but 3 tremendous goals. Dan James, man. Oh my God. Harry Wilson's goal. Kiefer Moore would just never, ever. If any defenders, you better watch yourself if Kiefer Moore comes in for a cross or a corner. He is lethal.
I know.
I'm still tempted. I just cannot wait for the day that I get to try and have Chris Gunter by saying he's earned over 100 caps for Wales.
Number 99. It's It was fantastic. I don't know what's happened, but this Wales side now, 1 year ago today, as we're recording this, was Wales 2, Hungary 0, when Aaron Ramsey scored twice to send us to the Euros. The last Wales game I was at, which is genuinely heartbreaking. Due to COVID, we've not been able to be there since. And now 3-1 against Finland when we needed a win to be promoted. I don't know what it is. We're thriving under pressure now. We've never seen that in a Wales side before. You look at Wales Romania, that Paul Bowden penalty miss. never before have we had.
I still want him on my show. I'm trying to get in contact with the FAW, and I'm trying to get in contact as much as I can with a lot of these former players. But I remember speaking to Kevin Ratcliffe in the first time I spoke to him, and he said he missed the game, and he said, "Oh, who did?" But I'm trying to get a few people to come on and talk about that game, but it's so difficult because some of the names that who have played that game are very big, well-known Welsh superstars, you know. But considering how far Wales have come, because if we, you know, there was no success. There was success in 1958. We all know that. You know what? That's the reason why Spirit of '58 is still there. You know? And now, then in the 60s, it was the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It was all up and down. I know the 70s was a bit okay because Mike Smith tried his best to get through the European Championship. But I want to talk about maybe me and you should talk about this, and we should dig it up soon. It's Wales v Yugoslavia, Battle of Ninian Park. That'll be one to talk about. It was such a brutal match. Rudy Glockner, the referee, almost got killed that day. So
we definitely have to talk about it.
Oh yeah. The 80s, it ran dry, but Kevin Ratcliffe and a few players who played under them, they've said that Mike England could have had that potential to actually take Wales further beyond, but he couldn't do it. Then Terry Yorath, bless his heart, you know, I know he's not dead, but this is a man who could have taken Wales, you know, to the 94 World Cup. I think because at that time, Graham Taylor was manager for England, and England never qualified for the World Cup because it was their worst ever.
Yeah, they did the documentaries, didn't they? The Channel 4 An Impossible Job. Yeah. And
then all of a sudden it was the Bobby Gould era, and I've interviewed many players who talked about Bobby Gould. It was such a mixture. A lot of young players were grateful that he picked them. His heart was in the right place. I think Bobby Gould's heart was in the right place for Wales, but I do believe that he was never the right man for the job. Because it was just the fact that his heart's in the right place, but his experience as a manager has come from Wimbledon, the Crazy Gang era.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought more tension than togetherness, as the saying "together stronger" goes now. So what was you going to say? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say about his sort of forays with Wimbledon. That's what he tried to create, that sort of crazy gang mentality within the side, that sort of, you know, fight to the death for one another. But the issue is you can't do that in international football. No. Mind you, the FAW managed to do that. If you look at nowadays, the players are all so close. You see when Johnny Williams scored the winner against Bulgaria's first international goal, you see the videos after, they're all going mental for him, but there's just not enough time to gel. I suppose it's because we've seen all these Welsh players come through the youth systems together. I mean, there's a fantastic photo that I think Scotty tweeted last night, and it was Dan James, Harry Wilson, and Joe Morrell together in one of the age groups. I think it must have been under 14s or something, all lined up next to each other. And then last night in the team photo next to each other. And so they all know each other. But I mean, some of the stories, it could be a podcast in its own right.
Yeah.
Bobby Gould days. I mean,
we'll do that. We will cover it because I think my guests are running up dry, but the co-host isn't. So we will talk about that in so many details because I love the Bobby Gould. I love the Bobby Gould era because I believe it's what it was the pivotal moment of a dark day in Welsh football, because Bobby Gould, I'll just quickly say this now. Bobby Gould attempted to do something that wasn't original in international football standards. If it was at football club standards, maybe it would have worked, like in Wimbledon or whatever. But at international level, you got Ryan Giggs, John Hartson, Barry Horn, Dean Saunders.
Yeah.
You know, you had Neville Southall and Ian Rush were the coaches. You know, these are men who've been there and done that, and done it better than Bobby Gould ever did. Not as managers, but as players, you know, and where they've come from. And I still think to this day, John Hartson won that fight against Bobby Golden. We'll go on to it later. But yeah, so there was the Bobby Gold era. Then I think it was after him, Mark Hughes and Neville Southall took over as caretakers for a bit. Then Mark Hughes took over. He had hope. It's funny because it was as if there's a pattern going on. So you had Terry Orr who brought hope.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went back into darkness. Then Mark Hughes came. He brought the hope because of the famous 2-1 win against Italy. And did you know, if you look back on all the results, we did tremendous.
Yeah.
Absolutely tremendous. And how we did not qualify for a European Championship or Euros, whatever you want to call them, how we qualified for a World Cup is beyond me. But then when he left, and this is a podcast to talk about as well, John Toshak's era.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have said, and I have to agree, if it wasn't for him, Wales would not have been where they are today, because here's the reason why.
That's true.
Here's the reason why. So John Toshak came, right? Now, in the media, they slandered him because he bottled it, because he was given the job back in the early 90s after Terry Orr left. Didn't have it in him, so he buggered off to Spain. But when he came back in, the experienced players felt that it wasn't necessary. That's why Gary Speed retired. Robbie Savage, I think Savage still stayed, but he stayed only for a little bit. All these experienced players just left. John Hartson, I think, left. Ryan Giggs left, and it was leading to the point where John Toshak had no choice but to get the youngsters in. And who came in? Gareth Bale, Joe Allen, Ben Davis, Wayne Hennessy, all these young talent. Aaron Ramsey.
He was captain at 20.
Yeah.
Chris Gunter as well when he was on the books at Spurs. Yeah.
But who gave him that captaincy, though, at the age of 20? Who gave him that? It wasn't John Toshak.
Who was it? Go on.
Gary Speed. It was Gary.
Yes, of course. It
was Gary. But then after when John Toshak left, I thought to myself, we need someone. He was never going to do it. In all fairness, John Toshak never had it in him. I think John Toshak, if you're going to compare Bobby Gould and John Toshak to be the worst Wales managers going, my God, we would have been sat here for days trying like a conspiracy guidelines going around saying, right, this is the reason why. But we'd be going there for days. But I remember, and I'll be perfectly honest, when Gary Speed, bless his heart, God bless him, when he came, I will be honest with you, I thought, he's not got the experience yet. He's only been at Sheffield United for 4 months. Why the FAW? And then all of a sudden, whack! What the hell are we seeing here? And then he was bringing something new. He was bringing something exciting. Aaron Ramsey was captain. Oh my God, he was. And then, my God damn it, Gary.
Still raw. I still can't really believe it. Just on the upturn as well. It started a bit shaky, but
it was shaky, but he was leading. He was going to be the man.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you this now. I remember, I've said this so many times on the podcast, right? But I remember it was on that day when he passed away. It's like, it's one of those moments. Where were you? I was in Cardiff Central. And I remember that day was so quiet. It was just a quiet day in Cardiff Central. It was busy, but do you know when, it's hard to explain. Do you know when it's busy, but there's this feeling of calm? It's like a calm before the storm kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or something was not right. And then, as a habit, I just looked at my phone. Breaking news, Wales manager Gary Speed died. And I thought, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. And we thought, what are we going to do? Where's this going to go? And then I was wondering, and this is very selfish or heartless in some ways, but I was thinking, well, who's going to take over now? And the names that they popped up, I thought, right, we got potential to have not Craig Bellamy. what's his name? Oh, Tony Pulis. Tony Pulis is popped up. But at that time, I think he would have been a good option, but I don't think he would have brought us anywhere. And then when Chris Coleman came in, that's when I started bashing my head on the table, going, why? And and then all of a sudden, he just took us to the Euros, and we got to the semi-finals. And I thought, you know what, he's not so bad after all, you know.
The best summer of our lives. And I think it started so poorly as well with Passport Gate when he forgot his passport at the airport. Was it 6-0 to Bosnia?
6-1 to Serbia, and Gareth Bale scored a free kick. I remember sat here going, the FAW have not got a clue which manager they want to bring next, or why is it that every manager comes in and we do so poorly? And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we're beating Belgium.
Yeah, 3-0 against Israel.
3-0 against Israel. We're beating Bosnia. Okay, we can beat Cyprus, no problem. But it was just... And I was there most of those games as well. And I'm there going, this is amazing. Yeah. Stop. I want to enjoy this. And then next you know, I'm in a pub, Wetherspoon's pub, and I'm getting pint glasses splashed all over me because we're beating Belgium 3-1 in the Euros.
Yeah.
Oh. And Chris Coleman will forever... But I think for Chris Coleman, someone has to say he was not just the manager. He was not just the manager that was leading Wales. It was Gary Speed that started it off. That hope.
Yeah.
And then when Chris Coleman left, I was a bit heartbroken because I thought he could have had one more, just one more.
Yeah.
But how do you... I know we're going to talk about the six, because with the success of Wales, you know, the 10 games and everything, and bearing in mind, if you've noticed, with Wales, these are players not just from Premier League. These are players from... they were players from Spanish League. Real Madrid. For this day, if someone offered me a Real Madrid ticket, I will not have it.
No.
I would never have it on principles, unless it was in the away end. That means I get to support whoever team is going against. On principle, I will always, someone offers me a Real Madrid top, shove it up your ass. The way they treated Bale was wrong. Absolutely wrong. I'm going on a rant here because it was wrong. If you didn't want him in the first place, why spend that so much? No. If you didn't want him and you wanted him gone, you should have just suck it up, spend the money, and do whatever. My torch went off for a minute. I do apologize because the battery is dying. But yeah, it's just players of mixture from Championship, League One, League Two, Scotland, and everywhere. It was just coming all over the place. I mean, the togetherness because they've been through so much. I mean,
yeah,
on a lot though. Fair play. We're doing some good timing here.
Yeah, I could honestly talk about the current Wales crop all day. I mean, you say 11 unbeaten. When I think the last time was Mike England. Yeah, go on, I'll fill, don't worry.
Yeah.
I think, 11 unbeaten. The longest time before that was Mike England when he first took over. I think that was maybe 8 or 9. I'm not sure. I'll have to fact check that. 774 minutes without conceding before Timu Puki scored last night. I mean, I think that's a new record in and of itself. We were so close, just half an hour away from finishing the whole Nations League campaign without conceding a goal. And the only team to have ever done that before is Belarus last year, which nobody would have expected. But
no, Belarus,
18-19, only team to have kept a clean sheet for the whole thing because they're down in League C or D or wherever it is. Got 16 points. It's 5 wins, 1 draw. That's the most points of any side in any group. That's if if it was just on a points basis on the league table, Wales would win that as well. One promotion to League A, playing the big boys week in, week out. There's no international games till March. So, hopefully with about 3 vaccines on the go at the minute, we'll be there to see Chris Gunter's 100th cap. We'll be there to see the likes of Spain, Spain away, Germany away.
And these would be cheap holidays as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, to be honest, playing in League A probably suits our style of play more because we're fantastic defensively. And Joe Roden and Chris Meckham, what a partnership.
Yeah.
And we're so good. I mean, look at when we played the USA, keeping them to a 0-0 draw, only conceding the one. Even against Ireland going at 5 at the back, we're just so solid no matter who we play. If we're playing the big boys and we can keep them, the pace we've got on the counter-attack, Dan James, Gareth Bale, David Brooks,
Dan
even
James
Tyler Roberts. Oh, the engine, I know. Even Kiefer Moore as well, he's deceptively quick for a man who's 6'5" or however tall he is.
I remember
sort of counter-attacking.
I remember when he played for England C, and he was at Jenna Park, I think.
Really?
Guys, just hold on for that for a moment. That's where I'm going. I think because me and Ryan Cox, who does the tannoy at Jenna Park for the Barrytown games, he was reading it out, and I can specifically remember there was someone more on the field. It could have been Kiefer Moore or someone else, but I remember it was England C versus Wales C at Jenna Park. And
was it 3-0 that game?
Yeah.
Because Fajiri Okunabiri scoring a hat-trick. Is that the one?
Wait, you can pronounce it. Do you remember Ryan not pronouncing it?
Yeah.
He just went Fajiri. Now you know what the name is.
Yeah, I do. I remember. I was there at that exact one.
I remember I was standing next to Ryan, trying to. I will never forget this. I will never forget this. He tried it the first time, and he looked at it, and he went for Jiri Ocken. For God's sake! And he just couldn't pronounce it. And then he literally just looks at the sheet and goes, "Rhys, you're good at reading and writing in this. You take over." How the hell am I supposed to pronounce this name? That's like saying Llanfire Pwllgwyngyll Gogeric chwn drobach Antisirio Gogogoch. I mean, that just...
Oh, very, very nicely done. Little brag there.
Very much. But, I mean, I was there going... and then I just remember, I will never forget this. It was just the fact that Ryan just turns around and goes, Fajiri! And everyone just goes, yay! Like that.
Oh, dear. Well, I remember... me and a friend in school one time, I think, at a boredom, we were just watching Barnsley highlights when they'd been promoted from League One. And Kiefer Moore was playing there, and he was scoring quite a few. And I remember him saying, keep an eye on this lad, because he's a hidden gem. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, he's called up to a training squad in Portugal. And we're going, I can't believe it. Because Neil said any idea. We're just sort of going, he might be good for the Championship. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's got Welsh heritage. He's scoring. He's scoring, I think, 4 goals he's got in 9 appearances, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And he's completely changing the way we play and completely transforming our qualification hopes.
Yeah.
It's just, it came out of nowhere.
How did you feel when Ryan Giggs came on board then? What was your initial response to that? Because I had a Jimmy Murphy kind of vibe, if you know what I mean. Because Jimmy Murphy was, he's a Mr. Man United, but he was Mr. Man United behind the scenes because he was responsible. Because in 1958, not only did Wales qualify for the World Cup, but the Munich air disaster happened, and because Matt Busby was, he was hospitalised and everything, and most of the squad had perished. Jimmy Murphy had to rebuild the squad himself for the time being whilst managing, and I felt that he's gonna. No one's gonna have no one's gonna have an airplane crash or anytime soon, no squads or anything. But I had that Jimmy Murphy vibe that he came from Man United. He's only managed, and if you notice, right, if you look at Jimmy Murphy's managerial experience, right, it says coach, assistant manager, youth team, scout, and everything, but not manager. As caretaker, right? Yeah. He's everything. And the only managerial experience he ever had as well was Wales. He refused Juventus. He refused Arsenal. He refused big names back in the day. Well, big names now, but big names back in the day. He refused Juventus, and John Charles was playing for him.
That's another podcast in and of itself, isn't it? John Charles, Brackets General.
I will always love the fact that some Italian players said, sod the Queen. He was, and not my Queen, I'm Welsh. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, how did you feel about Ryan Giggs, though? I saw if we went off topic there, guys.
that's the nature of this show. Initially, I was a bit sceptical. I personally wanted Craig Bellamy, but you know, certain issues with that. But apparently, he absolutely wowed the FAW with his PowerPoint. He was, you know, a hair's breadth away from getting it, but ultimately, Giggs is the bigger name. And I was a bit sceptical at first, and then, you know, and then we beat Ireland, probably go Ireland 4-1, and I'm thinking, well, this is the greatest game I've ever been to. Hold on, this is something special. And then, you know, that double-headed defeat, the 2-1 against Hungary, the 2-1 against Croatia. I'm thinking, you know, okay, maybe this isn't going well. That 1-0 friendly defeat to Albania as well, I was pulling my hair out of that. And I thought, you know, maybe it is. Granted, we'd beaten China 6-0, but the sort of only challenges we'd had, losing to Uruguay 1-0 in the final of that China Cup, I thought, okay, maybe, you know, maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to bring someone back. And then, or bring someone in. I was thinking of Chris Coleman because we've been talking about. I was thinking of bringing him back, and then all of a sudden, Kiefer Moore comes in. It just clicks.
Yeah.
You know, apart from that friendly defeat against England, which doesn't count. I mean, it didn't happen. It was behind closed doors. The last defeat Wales had was June 2019. We've been on a phenomenal run. And granted, these last 2 games, or these last 3 games, including the USA friendly, it's been Rob Page. But as Giggs' assistant coach, you know, he's kept with the same formations that Giggs was using. He's kept with the same tactics, the same personnel. You know, this is almost the Ryan Giggs revolution.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I'd see. I'm loving it.
Yeah, and considering the fact that we won't go in, because one thing I will say this now, and this is a personal thing, but the one thing I will never ever tolerate is domestic violence. I will never ever tolerate that. Did you know that's one of the things I really speak passionate about is if there was a charity, I mean, I know there's a few charities out there, but I've donated money for that to save, to help them and everything. But domestic violence is a big no-no for me. That's the one thing I don't stand. Now, we don't know the situation in full. You know, we can't always rely on the articles to say, right, he did this, because that's just a one-sided biased approach, you know, and anything from a former Man United star, you know, you want to get a good juicy story out of it and make big bad news and everything. But considering the fact that, you know, I think, anyway, with Rob Page coming in, you know, and he's had a good, decent career. Fair play to him. I think he's going to be he's a great assistant manager, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the managerial job. I know a lot of people are coming for Ryan Giggs' head because of this issue, but I said, in all honesty, if Ryan Giggs did go, then Rob Page is the man. He is the man.
Yeah, we've obviously got to be very careful when discussing it because we don't know any of the details really. But if he is found guilty, then he will have to go. There's no way he can show his face again. Then, yeah, I would welcome Rob Page. I mean, I think I had a Twitter discussion with a few people about it, and the names that came up were Michael Flynn at Newport County, Steve Cooper, and I would love. I think both of those would be fantastic for Wales. I think Michael Flynn, the sort of togetherness he has in the squad, the work he's doing this season, they're top of the table. He's just won Manager of the Month. Steve Cooper as well. You get Swans into the playoffs with basically no money. Both Welshmen as well. You know, Steve Cooper, albeit he won the Under-17s World Cup with England, but he's from Wrexham.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it's just whether they would abandon their clubs, their sort of projects. I know Steve Cooper's linked with Derby County at the minute, but he seems to be set with Swansea. And Michael Flynn's he was a player at Newport before he got the job in 2017.
Yeah.
And the work he's done there, I doubt he'd sort of leave the project before its climax. But yeah, I think
if Rob Page wasn't going for the job, which I would be heavily surprised if he didn't go for that job. But if he didn't, let's just say if he didn't, I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Bellamy was brought back into the picture. I wouldn't be surprised. Tony Pulis, if he does well with Sheffield Wednesday, but I think it's too early. Someone said Tony Pulis, but I said it's way too early to predict a man who's probably been out of football for almost a year. And you got to look back on the experience. You really want to now hire Tony Pulis, considering where his career's gone. But yeah, do you want to bring back an old man Terry Europe? Maybe. I'd love that.
Well, Oshan Roberts, who's out working in Morocco at the minute.
yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
fair
why
enough.
he left. He wanted the Wales job, and I think that was one of the reasons why I was sort of a bit, not annoyed, but I was a bit sort of sceptical about Ryan Giggs. Is I love Oshan Roberts, the work he's done. The majority of the squad from last night, he had such a huge part in identifying and bringing those through. So I think he would have been a fantastic manager. But if Rob Page wasn't going for the job, and with the likes of Steve Cooper and Michael Flynn unavailable, and Nathan Jones not quite up to scratch yet, he sort of faltered a bit at Stoke. But if he keeps going the way he's going at Luton, with all the Welsh players he's got Lockie, he's got Jonathan Davis and Joe Morrell now, he could be a name for the future.
Yeah.
But I think I would take Oshan Roberts back. The experience he's got out in Morocco with the likes of Hakim Ziyech and Adel Taarabt playing there, I would happily take him back anytime.
Yeah. And considering the fact, like a lot of people said, oh, any old managers, it's like, yeah, but do you really want to bring in Brian Flynn or something like that, who's now in his early 70s? Do you really want to bring in a manager like that? Someone said, I remember when someone said, I'll bring back John Tosh. I was like, no. Why? Why do you want to get us back? But it is difficult. And it's like, I had an early prediction, so a what if scenario. What if Ian Rush had a good managerial career? I said, yeah, Ian Rush would have definitely been on there. But these predictions, and it's hard for us to think of any more Welsh players who have gone on to management and everything, because now, we're only looking at those who've gone on to mediocre clubs.
Yeah, I've just thought of another one.
Oh,
if you're willing to take suggestions, Carl Robinson, who is just joined Western Sydney Wanderers in Australia, one of their biggest sides. Started at
who's at Newcastle Jets?
Yeah, so did I. He left about a month ago. He's been headhunted. He started at Vancouver Whitecaps, didn't he? He got them into the playoffs. I don't really understand the MLS system, but he actually discovered Alphonso Davies, the left back who's now playing for Bayern Munich, the Champions League winner. He brought him in the first team when he was 15.
I take Carl Robinson. Fair play. I would take him.
Yeah, and then he went to Newcastle Jets. I don't know how he got on there. I don't follow the A-League, but he's clearly done something right. Being headhunted by Western Sydney Wanderers, and I think he said he'd be up for it. I'd take him. Yeah, I think I'd be fascinated. I heard an interview with him. He said he doesn't have one, managerial style, because he's pragmatic. He's a bit like Jose Mourinho, really. He's willing to change if something's not working. He knows that he'll identify that.
Yeah,
so I'd take that.
Yeah. He's a good scientist of football, experimenting and everything. I wouldn't be surprised Gavin Chesterfield was actually offered. I wouldn't be surprised.
You never know.
Yeah, but he's already managing the Wales under 14s, I think. So,
Is he?
Yeah, he's been managing for them, I think, a couple of years now.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, and I'm on Barrytown's local radio station. I don't even know that.
It's just keep the need to know basis and everything. But no, I think he's. How was he? He was offered it, but when he said Wales, I thought Jesus Christ. But then he said the Wales under 14s and 15s. I thought, fair play to him, because But he's also a head lecturer for USW in Treforest or Ponty, one of those ones.
Yeah. There's one in Newport as well.
Huh?
There's one in Newport as well, isn't there?
Yeah, no, I don't think this
USW.
one. I think is it? Oh, probably. I don't know. I don't know really, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was, because I remember applying for a film degree there once. I got it. I received an offer, but script writing came my way in Cardiff, and I didn't want to move.
Yeah, fair enough. It's near Rodney Parade from the top of my head. So.
Fair play. But yeah, just going on to. But
what were we on about?
Yeah, I don't know. We've gone on for. I think we've gone on for more than an hour. We've gone on for definitely more than an hour.
Mm-hmm. Hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, but it's just. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you, because going on to the way we've won 10 games, and let's just put it this way. I know for a fact, me, you, John McAllister, Joe Regan. Do you know Joe Regan? Do you know Joe Regan, who he is?
I mean, I probably bumped into him at a Barra game, whether that was the Faroe Islands, the Reykjavik. No, it's not Reykjavik. Who was it? Runavik.
Runavik. Oh my God! Please don't mention that again.
I can see the sort of PTSD flashbacks coming your way. You might have
Hello,
to cover the camera.
my old friend. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. Just that shouldn't. Everything.
Yeah, sorry to bring that up.
No, everything about that game was wrong. Everything was wrong. The weather was definitely the extremely wrong. The performance was wrong because of the weather, and because we qualified by default, which makes it even worse for us. And we had so much criticism from people who don't support Barry. It's a mock to Welsh football. Screw you for saying that. No, but yeah, I will talk more about that at the next time. I will get my bed chair in a psychiatrist and be like, it all started the day I was born, kind of.
I've opened an old wound here, haven't I?
Yeah. No, but it's but going back onto Wales though, with Ryan Giggs coming back, because Rob Page was only in charge for 3 games, but will he be the man to take us to Qatar? Maybe. I said I want to go to Qatar. But I said I want to go with mates, so we'll go to Qatar. My family have said, if you are going to go with mates. We can't, and that's the thing. You got to do that because of the country we're going to. Qatar's not. Yeah. It's not dangerous per se, but it's still, the rules are rules, and
yeah, I was going to say, watch. You better tread lightly.
The rules are rules, and you must abide by them, whether you agree or disagree. That's very diplomatic of me to say that, but oh man, we covered a lot. We have.
Say you're listening to the Dragon's Breath International Relations podcast now.
Yeah, where Rhys is going to be a political prisoner in Qatar because we don't know why. But we covered the Wrexham Takeover. We covered most of the podcast stuff, and we covered most of the Wales games. And I do hope to go to Qatar, but I do hope to go to Italy because I have booked my flight, and because I'm a Red Wall member, I get to buy the tickets now. So, have you got it?
Yeah, there's a hand.
Oh, 1 minute.
And you're on it, you?
1 minute. 1 minute. Oh,
hold on. How much are you grabbing?
Just hold on. We're going home. Right. So, get my wallet out. Right, what is he going to show me?
I've got the 2.
You got the 2? What's the 2 then?
2018-19.
Okay.
Or 2018 to 20. So last season and this season.
Oh, because I got, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Hold on. I've got it here as well, actually. You just there with.
And obviously I've got the pin badge as well.
I've got them both on the hat.
Right. I need to get one of those bucket hats because I've got a lot of Wales pin badges and that. So
yeah. There's mine. Might have to. Should we cover the number now?
I can't see it.
There's. I have got. Here it is. Yeah, 2018 to 20 season as well.
So
I'm pulling out all the stuff.
Right. I think we should conclude just talking about the Red Wall membership and everything, and then we'll talk more off air. Mm-hmm. But Luke, have you ever been to watch Wales away?
No, I actually haven't. I had tickets booked for Rome away in the Euros.
I was going as well. So
I'm still heartbroken. Honestly, not a day goes by where I don't think about how brilliant it would have been to see, Dan James curling a winner in the 90th minute. I just despair, but I'm alive. So in this day and age, just sort of, it could be worse.
I was told by Ian Johnson, great guy, diehard Wales fan. Fair play to him. But I was
reading one of his articles earlier. Actually,
what's that?
Funny. I was reading one of his articles earlier.
But the thing is about Ian Johnson, he's one of those guys. If you want to know something, he will tell you. But I remember him saying to me when we were watching the Barry game against TNS on the telly a few days ago. He was talking to me about the current situation. He says he doesn't know what's the current situation going on with the FAW, and because when you want to go on away trips, they go by points or how many games you've gone to. But because we haven't been to many, it's going to go by experience. I know for a fact that some people with no experience are going to go. So, but you're only allowed one ticket per person. But it's like in any Wales away match. Who cares really? Because when you're in away end, no one really cares where you stand or so, because you're all standing, But on my bucket list, it does say at the top, and I have got a bucket list, go to watch Wales away.
Yeah. I was planning one for the Republic of Ireland away, which we did play eventually in the Nations League, which, had everything gone to plan, would have been about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Obviously, we did play and we did win. Out in Dublin, did we? Yes.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We drew 0-0 in Dublin. We won at the Cardiff City Stadium on Sunday. Yeah. I say it's confusing to keep track of it when there's no fans.
Yeah,
so
that's fair enough.
Which one did I go to? I don't know what the situation is going to be.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think we should conclude this podcast now anyway, because we've gone through so much and we want to keep as much as possible for the next few episodes. But that's just why I wanted to end it on the Red Bull membership, because guys, for those who are following the Red Bull, who are members and everything, leave a comment section below and explain to us, how you experience Wales away matches, and give advice to me and Luke, because we want to go to watch these away games, and excuse me, and me and Luke, we'll probably go together and just have a couple of beers or something,
That sound right.
Yeah. But I see this for now. The future is looking positive. This has been a very positive podcast. The future's looking positive for this podcast. It's looking positive for Wrexham. It's looking forward. It's looking positive for Wales as a nation. So I got to give it the big Brian Clough A-OK. But anything you want to say before we conclude this podcast, Luke?
Wales are going to win Euro 2021. Wrexham are going to win the Champions League this decade. That's all I've got to say. Really, it's looking up.
Yeah, and if Wales win the Euros, I am going streaking in Barry. So
I'm doing a George Best 28-day bender. I'm not coming home if they win the Euros.
That'll be amazing. That'll be absolutely amazing. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Dragons Voice podcast. We've been your hosts, Rhys Deans and Luke Williams. Luke, again, thanks for coming on, and and like I said, you're the co-host, so that's why I keep asking you to come on, because But one day you will see us in a studio talking more, and we'll fingers crossed on that. But we'll see you all very soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.